Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Sisto Says, powered by Design 2147, a New York City building and code consulting firm. Today I have Josephine.
Lazri.
Thank you!
Yes.
Josephine.
How are you?
Good. So, Jojo, as we
Yes.
call you. So great to have you, Jojo. You're part of the Design 2147 family. Welcome aboard. You've been working with me now for about 16 months, I think, somewhere around there. And you and I have been working together. And today is a big announcement for me. You have been working with me on marketing and business development, helping me with this show, helping me with our great newsletter that we get out every week, and all of the other things that we bring information to the architectural development construction community. So it's great to have you on the show. It's really a way for me to introduce everyone to you. So you didn't wake up one day and say, well, I think I'm going to want to go do marketing for an expediting company, but here we are. So tell us a little bit about your path and how you got here.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me on the show.
Of course.
I've been working behind the scenes for a little while now, so it's an amazing experience to be on this side. But I feel like I've kind of been a part of the family even when I wasn't working with you.
That's right.
Primarily, I mean, like, my mom worked with you guys, my cousin worked with you guys, and Linda Suley, has been an expediter, well, I think like 2 decades almost, right? So growing up, I feel like I was in the building department when I wasn't in school.
And you knew the lingo.
Yeah.
So it was at the dinner table. You heard it in the background. Even though during COVID your mom was working, you're working next to her because you're in the same space, and you're hearing it. And then you got to come here, and that's been something that you touched upon that talks a little bit about the value system here at Design. That we've had multiple, including my own family, of cousins, moms, their daughters or their sons working for us, and that still exists today. And I think that says a lot about the people who work for us, that they pass that value system down to their children or their family members, and we embrace it.
Yes. It definitely feels like a family. That's the company culture.
Yep.
And even though things have shifted in a world where everything is remote now or technology based, I still feel that connection, and it's because the partners specifically have cultivated that environment.
Yes, so, and I think that it's intentional.
Yeah.
It is.
And I definitely didn't plan to be here, but here we are.
That's right.
I studied marketing in university, and I have nearly a decade of experience working in the hospitality industry and event planning, production, live events, smaller venues, bars, restaurants, etc. So it's been such an aha moment for me, being able to connect my experience in those industries with what we're doing together now.
And they're very different, but they're also very similar.
Yes.
And one big part of my show every week is that we talk about how I've met people. I met a gentleman a couple of weeks ago by the name of Bill Costa. He came on the show, and we met for 5 minutes, and I knew he'd be a great guest. Yes. And there's this connection. And what you were doing, I've always done, but I didn't call it marketing.
Yes.
I just called it, that's what Sisto does.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But when you came along and we started really building this with Why Not You Media and with Graphic Machine, it's a whole world of marketing.
Of course, yeah. And people have large departments dedicated to just marketing. And I think we've been able to expand our capacity now. And instead of having a reactive approach to the business development, we're starting to be more proactive, right?
No question about it. a lot of it, it's very humbling that I do this show because I get so many accolades and I don't really see them. And I was just telling the producer, Fran, a little while ago that it just seems so natural to me that I don't think of it in any other way of just me being me. And what I've learned is that you have to have some courage. You know, starting a podcast at 58 years old, now 61 years old, it to put yourself out there is not easy, but there is determination, right? And there's always a goal, and I found that the people that surrounded me were much younger than me and gave me a lot of confidence. They gave me confidence to do this. From the team at Why Not You Media, from Patience Jones, to you every week to put it together and get it going and getting great guests on here to talk about what's really important to them and to me, which is keeping this city, keeping permits going, keeping laws active, making sure people are safe, making sure that we talk about these issues that really make up this great city. So here you are, you were doing this fancy hospitality stuff, right? Great events,
Yes.
probably a lot of chaos. Then you came to here, and they have some chaos here too because we really didn't have a whole department. And we've actually, there was never been a boss-employee relationship. You and I have always been co-workers from the minute you got here. You were very open about changes that we needed to do. You were confident that the ideas that you had would work, and they're working. And part of that is me being able to say today on this show that in the next few years, as I start to wind down, that you would like to take the baton and take this and do more with it, probably a lot more than I could have done because I started a lot later. So tell me a little bit about, now that you've been marketing design and we've seen, getting introduced to people now around the country, and actually, to be perfectly honest, even from people overseas have been calling us now that they want to build in New York City and they want to speak to us. So tell me a little bit about like how you feel about that, because for me that's incredibly exciting. Years ago it was always boots on the ground, and now we have a whole different platform.
Yeah, so I do want to mention, it's very important to mention that there's no replacing Sisto. He's one of a kind, and that is not what's happening here.
My wife says that.
Yeah, but my goal is to build around what you have already built.
Thank you.
Right, so I appreciate you being a team player because it's definitely motivated me, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to start making my own kind of quote-unquote executive decisions.
Absolutely.
Because I'll come to you for advice or a suggestion or what do you think, and you're like, well, now it's yours. So
right, and I think
yourself.
that's part of mentoring someone in your firm, that it's easy to say I want people to solve my problems. Oh, well, everybody we have, they just bring me their problems, they don't solve any. But the flip side to that is you have to let people solve the problems, and you have to trust them, and you have to let them sometimes fall.
Yes.
And they're going to make mistakes because we made mistakes.
Yes.
Right? 4 decades next month, 4 decades designs around. We've made a lot of mistakes. We've done a lot of great things, but everybody makes mistakes, and it's what you learn from those mistakes. And I believe that we've accelerated this because I had the trust that you can do it. And you've been doing it. And yeah, sometimes you get nervous and you're going to ask me about things, but most of the time you're very direct about it. And I appreciate that. And I think that's what makes us a great team.
Yeah, so to go back to your original question about, the clients coming to us, the new opportunities, what we're going to do with this, the first things first is seeing if we're the right fit for them.
Correct.
And also if they're the right fit for us. And that's something that I've been learning and exploring and kind of like being coached on alongside you and Ivan and our whole team. And then part of this endeavor has also been identifying our ideal customer profile.
Correct.
Which is, I don't think something that like I've ever done in the past. I always thought just bring in the work, you know,
Right.
but that might not be the case.
Well, and I think that's the best way to explain that is I think that's very old school.
Yeah.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and there used to always be a saying, if you have plenty of work, that's not a bad thing. But today, after decades of doing this, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think the right work for the way your business is built, the staff you have, your niche, your expertise allows you to succeed at a higher level when you're in the place where your staff and your company is most comfortable, for any company.
Yeah.
For any company.
So I think what we've been doing is trying to identify where we excel the most so that we can better serve the clients that we already have and maintain those relationships, and then also expand on maybe firms that don't necessarily know that they need us, but placing us in the
Correct.
right way so that they can recognize that.
Exactly. And for us to add value, you know,
Yes.
I say that our business has evolved. You know, today with technology, AI, you know, just get on a computer, fill out a form. But there's decades of strategy that we know how the building department works. We know how DOT works. We know how EDC works, the SCA. You know, it's just, you're not going to, AI's not going to teach you that. It could support it, but it's not going to teach you the ins and outs. And our added value is that we provide great strategy. And so on the building department end, we provide great strategy, and you're on board to provide great strategy in marketing, right?
Yes.
And that's what we do. We don't just haphazardly come up with a podcast. We don't haphazardly come up with our newsletter every week. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into finding what is the proper topic to talk about. What do people want to hear? What should we, how informative can we be? How do we optimize that for our audience to be able to say, well, there's an embargo coming because there's going to be the World Cup. Well, maybe that wasn't on somebody's radar, but you know what? There may be someone who's got a whole bunch of jobs in Midtown right now going, oh my God, I got deadlines. What do you mean they want me to move my barriers back inside and I can't have any operations on the roadway from these times? Well, that's the reality of working in New York City. So I think we do a really good job of searching that information and getting it out there. And you're a big part of that, scheduling it and working on it. So as we go forward, you know, I know everybody could Google something, but sometimes just going and AIing it doesn't mean you ask it the right question and you're going to get the right answer.
Yeah. So I think the work that we do, that Design 2147 does as an organization, when it's done well, it's not that noticeable.
Right.
But when another firm, let's say, tries to do their own expediting and something bad happens and they call us to come help them, then it is noticeable. So the idea is to serve people in a way where it works in the end, you know?
Right.
The permitting and everything, like that's all behind the scenes. Yes.
Yeah, and it's very difficult when you work with government agencies. You know, keeping it seamless is not easy.
Because it's always evolving too. There's always changes.
There's
You know, new restrictions
New
or
laws.
new codes.
Right.
Exactly. Yes. So.
Well, we just had that, you know, at the end of March.
Yes.
We you know, as an organization, we were inundated because the code was changing and there was deadlines that needed to be met, and we tried to, you know, meet every deadline for every client, which, you know, puts a lot of stress on the staff.
Yes.
But we did it. Thank God.
When it comes to AI and new technology, the way how I think of it is just as a tool, right? Or a search engine that's not going to give you the best information unless you're talking to someone who's really been in it.
Yes.
You know? So I appreciate it as a tool, but I see the value that we have.
No question, and I think that you know, we've had this discussion before with many guests, and also just by the networking events that you and I go to. There is nothing like meeting people face to face.
Correct.
And I you know, you could use all the other tools and whatever, and I know they have a lot of value, but But for me, maybe because I'm just old school, is that when I go to these events, I get to meet so many interesting people who not only share business stories with me, life stories, construction issues, architectural issues, just in general. Oh, this happened to me the other day. Well, yeah, well, that happened to us, but the way to fix that is do the, oh, well, I didn't know that. This is great. And you just met them 5 minutes ago, maybe at a networking event. So I think that, part of what I would like to pass, to you is that never underestimate the power of people. I truly believe that on the show. I believe it in life. I teach it to my children. I'm going to teach it to my grandchildren, because when you believe in people, great things can happen.
Yes. Yes.
Because we're humans.
I believe we long for human connection
100%.
despite the times. And to take it back to this specific industry, like, it's not just about paper pushing,
Right.
These are people who are firms investing millions of dollars, like billion-dollar industries, with people's jobs on the line,
Sure.
their safety on the line. There's so many different factors, and that's why it's always going to be important.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to phrase it, that it's not just about moving a piece of paper from point A to point B, because that piece of paper holds a lot of value, whether it's
Yes.
safety on the site, safety on the street, whether it's getting their TCO to open their building, moving people that, we do a lot of community facility work, people that have affordable housing that are possibly homeless right now, and they're waiting for us to get that TCO so they can move their children into an apartment,
Exactly.
and that's very rewarding to us. But like you said, it's not just a piece of paper. It has a direct impact on someone's life somewhere, or a family's life somewhere.
Yeah.
So as we move into the world of AI, and we talk about, what do you think you're going to do differently than I'm doing? I've been waiting all week to ask you that question.
That's a good question. So there's so many different directions that we can go. I think what I want to do is take my strengths and do what I know best. And part of that is really tapping into social media, right? And putting our, direct experiences, going to these events or meeting with our clients and building on those relationships so that we can have some type of showcase of this behind the scenes experience, right? And then the intent behind that is really to show, other firms how we work with others, right? And that whole experience. From an organizational standpoint, we have an incredible project management system that we are just constantly improving and updating, and the data that it collects and the way how it mainstreams or streamlines our processes is incredible. But collecting that information is one part. Now it's about identifying what we need to do beyond that, right? Quantifying it. And then something that you and I have been working with is our products, right? The services that we provide.
What more can we offer?
What can we offer, or what has changed, you know?
A lot has changed.
Yeah. And
decade after decade, things change. And we get
Yes.
different requests now than we used to get. Yes, sometimes people just call with a standard request. But
Yes.
a big part of what we've been doing is a lot of clients come to us now because they're stuck.
Yes.
They're stuck because they did a renovation 10 years ago. They can't find their contract. The contractor retired. The architect is no longer around. What am I doing? My co-op board wants me to close this. I don't know what to do. They're panic stricken. And we're like, no, just slow down. We can help you. And I think that it was funny. There was once a gentleman who said to me, oh, so your business is like a bunch of nurses running around the hospital.
That's funny.
I'm like, what? I didn't
funny.
get it,
Yeah.
right? So, but he was a very smart guy, and he said, no, You're the nurse that goes to the patients and holds their hand and rubs their hand and says, "Don't worry, everything will be all right."
Yes.
And I think that, yes, when you're doing a brand new building, that's part of it. That owner, that developer, that team wants to know that when they spent years building their building, they can get across the finish line. Or the architect who designed something and has a vision for their client and says, "I need to get this through the building department now. Can you get it through?" Right? So I think that it's a true analogy that in a lot of ways now that part of our business is growing because there's decades of old files that people need closed out, and we try to give them a path. We give them a strategy, right? And then the people person that I am is, okay, well, I have someone for this and I have someone for that. This person can help you. Reach out to this person. So I think that the business has evolved, and we need to evolve with the business.
Correct. And I think the best way to do that, this is actually a mission statement that you and Jem put together, but I apply it to my personal life now because it's so simple, but it's so profound. But it's about finding non-complex solutions to anything that you're dealing with. And I think that's what we do.
Right. And I think that the human mind at times wants to make it more difficult.
Yes.
There's fear factor, there's nerves, there's anxiety, whatever we do. So when the client calls, they a lot of times you could hear it in their voice. They don't even know how to talk about it. And our job is to say, well, this doesn't have to be that difficult. We can find a path for you. And I think that's what, years ago, our industry always had this, they're line standers. They wake up at 4 a.m. to cut the lines. There's no more lines.
Sometimes, yeah.
But there's no more lines. There's no more building department. It's online, right?
Yeah.
So now it's about execution. It's about putting in the right information. It's about doing the right thing. And it's about guiding the client with realistic timelines and a realistic path. Yeah. And I think definitely non-complex solutions, but part of that mission statement, which is no more patches.
Yes, no more patches, right? I mean, in a perfect world, we do things right from the beginning.
Right, but what happens is when things are on the fly, every business,
yes,
right? Every business has a moment of time where you need to adapt to that situation. But the adaptation should be for a small period of time until you have a non-complex solution, which will make it have a great foundation and it makes it sustainable. And that's the beauty about what you and I have been working on is that, today it's more about, the show is more about introducing you to being with me, not me, and you're going to be your own person. And I hope that you have as much fun doing this as I've been doing it for 40 years. And I continue to do it because I love it.
Yes.
I absolutely love it. I love just meeting the new people. I love people coming to me with their issues on their buildings, and we find a solution collectively. But you will create your own personality. You will have your doubts at times, as we all do. But it's exciting for me to find someone like you that embraces it, is enjoying it, wakes up every day. You motivate me.
Yeah.
So I think, and I hope I motivate you. But you definitely give me a reason in the morning to wake up. We have our 8:30 huddle every morning, and we talk about life first, and then we talk about what our goals are for the day, and sometimes we achieve them all, but we always have a path.
Yes.
We always have an idea of where we need to go, and we find a way to all four of us work together, whether I've been the boss for 40 years or not. We're all the same in that moment, in that huddle, and that's what I love about it. I love the fact that everybody puts their guard down and says, okay, all right, Jojo, how do I help you? And and Monica or Ivan say, well, how do we help JoJo? And we all pitch in collectively, and we make this work. So part of that's going to be taking that from this office and putting it out into the world. You know, it's meeting these new people and showing them that we can work together and we can accomplish great things.
Yes, yes. You've definitely cultivated an environment of accountability. Not only are we helping each other, but we're also all holding each other accountable so that we could better serve them. And
right.
That's
And when clients call and they, you know, in our world, people apologize. Hey, we have an RFP. It's due tomorrow, and it's 5 o'clock at night, and we say, okay, we'll figure it out, right? And we don't say no, and we roll up our sleeves and we put it together. And we find a way to do it. And what we're learning also is that, you know, creating good systems and creating sustainable things makes, when those calls come in, much less stressful.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And just there seems to be a path there. So it's for me, this is incredibly exciting. And I'm just like so excited of us, you know, getting out and doing new things and different things that we just didn't do before at Design. You know, it's a new place, and it's never too late.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to adding another 40 years and beyond to that timeline.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Well, Joe, this is great.
Thank you.
I truly appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
I'm glad that I get to tell the world that we're going to be doing this together.
Yes.
And, you know, it's already happening because a lot of people come to you and they bypass me, which is a great thing. I love it.
Uh-oh.
No, I love it.
Yes,
I
it's
love
exciting.
it. And you do a great job. And I'm sure Dom and Sergio are excited to have you to be part of this with me.
Yes.
So we knocked off 1.5 years, but we got a lot more to do.
Oh, yes. It is my pleasure. I'm excited.
Yep, me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.